Chapter 250 Yuhao vs Wang Qiu'er. Qiu'er could feel the fear, too. While the soul dueling arena was large, both combatants had to keep an initial distance of 100 meters from each other. If the distance was too large, it would cause the competition to drag out. It was also unfair to soul masters who did not specialize in long-range attacks. Qiu'er tried to use his soul tool fortress like before, attempting to suppress Wang Qiu'er with a powerful bombardment. However, he soon realized that Wang Qiu'er was already in front of him. He had never expected her to move at such a terrifying speed. However, he was trained under the ultimate soldier plan too. He was shocked, but he reacted quickly. He immediately abandoned his plan to use his soul tool fortress. A powerful ray of light shot out from his chest, and at the same time, he quickly retreated. At the same time, he raised his arms, and 6 cannons flipped out. A powerful blast of soul power went straight for Wang Qiu'er's body, creating distance, suppression with firepower. This was the most common fighting style of soul engineers. However, Wang Qiu'er was exceptional even by the standards of Shrek Academy. Faced with Qiu'er's attack, she didn't even try to dodge. She lifted her right hand and was instantly wielding her golden dragon spear. She completely ignored the lines of soul power that were coming for her. She shrieked a battle cry, and a powerful golden light enveloped her body. The shadow of a golden dragon flashed behind her, and then disappeared. Following that, with a clear dragon's roar, the golden dragon spear turned into a bolt of golden lightning as it was hurled toward Qiu'er. Screw me. Qiu'er's face drained of color. That day, when Yuhao and Wang were discussing Wang Qiu'er's abilities, they had both mentioned her weapon, which was almost as powerful as a divine weapon. The moment that golden lightning appeared, Qiu'er felt the hairs on his body standing up. He released a powerful class 7 protective soul barrier almost instantly. At the same time, he felt his body hurtling toward the ground. He fired 2 thick cannons, which he had just released from his shoulder. Instantly, 2 high explosive cannon shells flew straight toward the golden bolt of lightning. Even so, Qiu'er did not relax. Another white cannon shell blew up in midair, from which a round protective shield with a diameter of 3 meters appeared. This was another class 7 protective soul barrier that was released in the form of a cannon shell, allowing it to be placed at any corner of the battleground. It was a special soul tool Qiu'er could also use for his own defense. With a boom, the 2 cannon shells split apart. However, while they were powerful, they could not compare to the golden dragon spear. The bolt of lightning pierced through the layers of fire as it hit the round protective shield. White ripples appeared on the round protective shield. After it was deployed, this shield could exist in midair for as long as 30 seconds. While it was not a stationary soul tool, it was still one of the top class 7 soul tools in existence, called the protective angel cannon shield. If it was used well, its role in saving one's teammates during a battle was remarkable. However, the protective angel cannon shield was breaking apart now. The golden dragon spear stopped, and the shape of a golden dragon flashed on top of the spear. The dragon's roar became louder and louder. Following that, it pierced through the protective angel cannon shield. The golden dragon spear did not slow down as it continued on its path toward Qiu'er at an even faster speed. What shocked everyone was the fact that Wang Qiu'er suddenly stopped. She seemed to be mumbling to herself, as if she were praying to the heavens. Qiu'er, however, sighed in relief. While the golden dragon spear was powerful, he could feel, at that moment, that its deadliness was gone. The golden dragon spear no longer exerted any pressure on him. The protective angel cannon and his 2 high explosive rounds had diminished much of its power. As he noticed that the golden ray of lightning was almost in front of him, Qiu'er changed too. A pair of hammers appeared in his hands. It was even Yuhao's first time seeing Qiu'er using a close combat soul tool. However, he had to admit that these hammers fit Qiu'er well. The hammers were only about 50 centimeters long, but their heads were more than half of the length, their entire bodies crackling with electricity. They were the thunderous warhammers, class 6 soul tools. With Qiu'er's physique, it was no issue for him to wield these hammers. Even though he had a food-type martial soul, he had studied the Tang Sect secret techniques too. His special favorite was the chaotic splitting wind hammer technique. At this moment, as the golden dragon spear approached him, Qiu'er turned his body vigorously. His 2 hammers were like a shooting star and moon. He smashed them at the golden dragon spear. He believed firmly that with the explosive thunder power in his 2 thunderous warhammers, as well as his class 7 protective soul barrier, there was no problem in him meeting the golden dragon spear head-on. Qiu'er's reaction could not be described as bad. Even the other 6 Shrek 7 monsters could not find any fault with it. However, Wang Qiu'er was no ordinary girl. Even Yuhao, who understood her best, did not expect her to have such a fighting style. Clang! The sharp sound of metal hitting metal resounded in everyone's ears. Qiu'er's hammer smashed into the golden dragon spear. While the golden dragon spear was powerful, the intense golden light that it gave off was able to reduce much of the warhammer's thunder. Bits of the golden light even crept onto them. The golden dragon spear that was already severely weakened was still capable of forcing Qiu'er to take 3 steps back. However, this was the last of its strength. Smashed away by the hammers, it flew into the air. Qiu'er, however, stared in shock as he noticed that the golden light that flashed from the golden dragon spear had been sent flying into the air. A silhouette appeared next to the spear in midair, as if the sky had torn open to get her there, and grabbed onto it. Then, she came crashing down from the sky as she tried to smash Qiu'er from above. Wang Qiu'er, who was in the distance, had disappeared. A goddess of war, wielding the golden dragon spear, had appeared before Qiu'er. Her golden dragon spear can teleport her. Yuhao watched with his mouth agape. He could not help but think about how Wang Qiu'er had appeared before him and helped him with his 3-in-1 martial soul fusion skill. With such limited time, Qiu'er could not react in any other way. He lifted his 2 warhammers as he tried to clamp onto Wang Qiu'er's spear. Boom! Instantly, Qiu'er felt as if he had been hit by a mountain. While he was confident in his own abilities, and was a soul emperor, he was still far from Wang Qiu'er in terms of raw strength. Everyone who was watching the fight could clearly see Qiu'er's knees buckle and sink down. His entire body appeared to be absorbed by the ground, as the electricity from his thunderous warhammers turned golden. Qiu'er felt that his arms no longer belonged to him. Wang Qiu'er used the rebound of her strike to leap back into the air. As she was about to land, she turned around in midair and her spear reached out, pointing itself straight at Qiu'er's throat. Resist! Resist! Qiu'er could not even lift his arms, much less resist. His joints were immobilized by the massive force that had crashed down on them. How could he resist? The spear's tip stopped just an inch away from his throat. Qiu'er opened his eyes wide in shock. He could feel that there was a force at the tip of the spear that was absorbing his soul. It was an ominous feeling that told him that he was only inches away from death. Wang Qiu'er wins. Yan Xiaosha's voice stopped everything. From Shrek's side, Xiao was already running at full speed. Wang Qiu'er stuck her spear into the ground. She walked forward and chopped down on Qiu'er's arms. Only then did they come down. They had been dislocated. Wang Qiu'er then tugged at his arms forcefully. Car. Instantly, she jerked his arms back in place. The sudden wave of pain made Qiu'er sweat, but he was able to regain control over his arms. Thank you, Qiu'er said with a bitter smile. In terms of power, he was not that far from Wang Qiu'er. However, Wang Qiu'er had used her advantages to their fullest. When Wang Qiu'er approached Qiu'er, Yuhao had already closed his eyes. In close combat, Qiu'er stood no chance against Wang Qiu'er. Qiu'er, are you okay? Xiao ran up to him and grabbed his arm, her face full of concern. Qiu'er chuckled and said, it's nothing, only a dislocation. Wang Qiu'er helped me put it back in place. Powerful indeed. I lost this round fair and square. He gave her a thumbs up. While he lost, he was not depressed. He pulled himself out from the ground and returned to his corner with Xiao. Only Xiao could feel that even now, Qiu'er's arms were still trembling, a testament to how powerful Wang Qiu'er's attack had been. When Wang Qiu'er beat Qiu'er, her teammates' faces showed a variety of expressions. The one with the biggest change was Dalu. When he saw Wang Qiu'er's spear crash against the thunderous warhammers, forcing Qiu'er into the ground, Dalu's throat tightened as he swallowed. He did not know what the result would have been had he faced her spear himself. One could say that this was their first victory. Wang Qiu'er's power made all of her teammates lose their doubts about her. The explosiveness and length of the battle caused it to be over in the blink of an eye. Bei looked at his team and tapped Yuhao lightly on the shoulder and said, "Go, Yuhao. Why me, elder brother?" Yuhao looked at Bei with an innocent face. Bei said naturally, you understand her best. Furthermore, when you asked us to help you take care of Qiu'er, did we reject you? Oh, it's time to let them see how powerful you've become. You can do it. Huo Yuao looked at his compatriots as if he was imploring them to do something. However, they all pretended that they did not see him. Even Wang Donga, helplessly and unwillingly, Huo Yuao walked out. He did not want to face Wang Qiu'er, not just because of how powerful she was, but also because of the weird relationship the two of them had. He did not know how he should face her. For the other members of Shrek's 7 monsters, the only ones who stood a chance against Wang Qiu'er were Bei Bei and Shu Sanchi. While Wang Donga was also a sole emperor, she had already fought, and He K2 had lost. Zhang Nanan and Xiao Xiao, both of whom had yet to reach 6 rings, were obviously weaker than Wang Qiu'er. This was why Bei Bei sent Huo Yuao out. When Wang Qiu'er noticed that it was Huo Yuao who walked out, her expression changed. Then, she flicked her wrist and pulled her golden dragon spear out of the ground, pointing its tip right at Huo Yuao. From afar, Elder Sun and Kai Mai nodded. Huo Yuao versus Wang Qiu'er. This was a fight worth watching. One wielded the power of ultimate ice and was a twin-souled soul master. The other one was one with an ultimate strength martial soul. A match between the two of them would naturally be interesting. Even Elder Sun wanted to see who was the most powerful of the two. After all, only when their strengths were similar could they use the full might of their powers. When he looked at Wang Qiu'er, Huo Yuao's eyes betrayed a tinge of helplessness. He nodded at her and said, "Please be merciful." Wang Qiu'er snorted. She slowly raised her golden dragon spear, and her eyes flared up. There was no way she would be showing mercy. Yan Xiaosh looked at the two of them, and a smile crept across his face. He said, "Remember, don't actually draw blood. Start." The moment he said that, Wang Qiu'er started to move. Like before, her left leg stomped down forcefully on the ground, leaving a deep crevice. Her body was already barreling straight toward Huo Yuao. When he saw the hole she left behind, Yan Xiaosh's heart ached. "We need money to repair the grounds again. With the power of this girl, what materials must we use to prevent her from leaving any more holes?" Huo Yuao had no desire to pit his speed against Wang Qiu'er's. With her powerful force, Wang Qiu'er's short-term explosiveness allowed her speed to exceed that of a 7-ring soul sage. As he watched Wang Qiu'er, cloaked in gold, hurtling toward him, Huo Yuao's gaze turned sharp. An orange golden silhouette appeared behind him, and the adorable snow lady appeared once again. She twiddled her index fingers habitually as she looked innocently at Wang Qiu'er, who was rushing toward her at high speed. Huo Yuao did not retreat. An intense layer of gold light shone from his body, and his eyes suddenly turned bright. Can it be? Does he want to meet her head-on? Everyone exclaimed in their hearts. They could not help but admire Huo Yuao's bravery. At this time, the soul rings on Huo Yuao's body started to shine. A white halo expanded. It was enfeeblement. As a control-type soul master, it was impossible for him to clash head-on with her without first attempting to weaken her. After enfeeblement, he used spiritual confusion on Wang Qiu'er. Huo Yuao was cunning indeed. When he used enfeeblement, it was still traceable. As she noticed that a white halo was approaching her, Wang Qiu'er gathered her soul power, and with the power of the bloodline of the golden dragon, she was able to reduce its power by more than 80%. However, at this moment, her rampage stopped. She was still 30 to 40 meters away from Huo Yuao, just as her legs touched the ground and she was ready to charge forward once again. Huo Yuao used his spiritual confusion on her. This control of time was perfect for him, but terrible for Wang Qiu'er. She was instantly befuddled. This caused her to lean to one side with each step she took. While each step she took still caused a boom to sound, her addled mental state caused her to lose her center of gravity. Her body leaned to one side, and she was already rushing toward that side. The effects of this off-kilter dash were mitigated considerably by her power. Had she been an ordinary soul master, her legs would have been broken by the amount of force she was using. At this time, Huo Yuao used his third soul skill. 2 rays of purplish gold light shot out from his eyes. This was spiritual shock. As a spiritual type attack, you could not block it even if you knew what it was. Wang Qiu'er's head snapped back due to the spiritual shock. Just as she was about to resume control over her body, she lost it once more as she fell to the ground. At this moment, Huo Yuao moved. Like her, he pushed off with his left leg. While he was not as intense as Wang Qiu'er, the explosiveness of his speed was comparable to hers. This was because he still had 4 soul thrusters behind him. His entire body shone with bright, golden light. Huo Yuao was already flying toward Wang Qiu'er at lightning speed. He punched out with his right fist and sent her flying. Timing and soul skill control. Huo Yuao did all this perfectly. Everyone couldn't help but fear for Wang Qiu'er. With Huo Yuao's control type abilities, he was at an absolute advantage. However, just as everyone thought Huo Yuao had won with his punch, Wang Qiu'er, who had been sent flying down, suddenly turned her body in midair. She faced Huo Yuao, and her left fist went flying toward him. Her body was suspended in a slanted position in midair. Of course, she did not break free from gravity. What supported her body was the golden dragon spear in her right hand. It turned out that Wang Qiu'er was able to break free from the spiritual shock. Then, she quickly steadied her body as she punched Huo Yuao back. When Huo Yuao attacked, he had never expected himself to win immediately. If he could do that, Wang Qiu'er would not be Wang Qiu'er. However, he was shocked at how quickly she was able to free herself from his spiritual shock. This girl's spiritual resistance was strong indeed. As their fists matched, a low explosion could be heard in midair. Huo Yuao's body was sent flying. Wang Qiu'er smiled. They were comparing raw strength, and she had ultimate strength martial soul. However, while Huo Yuao was sent flying, Wang Qiu'er did not pursue him. Golden light shone from both of their bodies as they clashed against each other. Wang Qiu'er's golden dragon spear, which she had used to barely maintain her balance, emerged from the ground first. Her body turned, and she landed on the ground. Huo Yuao's body flew, and the snow lady, who had been following him, changed. Her deep blue eyes were like a boundless ocean. Her small form expanded, and she reverted to her snow empress form. Wang Qiu'er was shocked. Wang Qiu'er was shocked as she looked at Snow Empress' deep eyes. In the next instant, what appeared before her was an endless patch of ice and snow. The Snow Empress chill merged with Huo Yuao's domain of perpetual ice, the snowy dance of ultimate ice. It was not wise to clash head-on with the pure power of the golden dragon. Huo Yuao knew that he had no chance in a head-on collision. To beat Wang Qiu'er, he had to maximize his own advantages. Bei Bei had correct before. Among everyone present, he knew Wang Qiu'er best. The spectators could feel a sudden drop in temperature. Even though the snowy dance of ultimate ice only enveloped a radius of about 50 meters, the chill it emitted could be felt in the entire arena. This was because Huo Yuao's cultivation was not high enough. As he became more powerful, he would be able to control the chill to an extent whereby it would not leak out. Not only would this save soul power, but its power would also be stronger in the affected area. Large patches of snow started to dance in the air, and Huo Yuao disappeared amidst the snow. Countless snowflakes, shaped like knives, encircled Wang Qiu'er, and under the extreme cold, started to attack her. She stood at her original spot, unmoving. She did not even try to find Huo Yuao. Wielding her golden dragon spear, she appeared extremely calm. She closed her eyes as she sensed the changes around her. A rather thin layer of golden light appeared from her body and enveloped her within it. However, this seemingly thin layer of light was able to block the snowflakes that came at her like little knives. Standing in the center of the snowy dance of ultimate ice, Wang Qiu'er's soul power was being massively depleted as well. No matter how powerful she was, in the face of this domain, Huo Yuao was able to combine his power with that of nature to attack her. The snowy dance of ultimate ice worked better in colder and wetter places. While Shrek Academy was not particularly cold, the presence of sea gods lake nearby ensured a sufficient amount of environmental humidity. If someone could see the conditions of Huo Yuao's and Wang Qiu'er's soul power, they would discover that both were dropping. Wang Qiu'er's dropped because she was resisting the power of the domain, and Huo Yuao's dropped because he was releasing his power. In comparison, Huo Yuao's soul power depletion was less. After all, he was the one releasing his power. Furthermore, in an extremely cold environment, his soul power would recover faster than Wang Qiu'er's. With the assistance of the snow lady, while his cultivation did not compare to Wang Qiu'er's, his domain was more taxing on her than him. However, Huo Yuao was still a 5-ring soul king, and Wang Qiu'er was a 6-ring soul emperor. If they both had ultimate strength martial souls, both of them would have similar soul power. However, if they continued to deplete their soul power like this, while Huo Yuao's depletion was slower, there was still a big difference between his soul power and Wang Qiu'er's. No one knew who would be the first to run out of soul power. Huo Yuao released his snowy dance of ultimate ice not just to deplete his opponent's strength. It was also because he knew he could not go against Wang Qiu'er head-on. They had been through thick and thin together, and he didn't even want to fight her from the start. The other reason was that he was searching for an opportunity as well. In the domain, Wang Qiu'er would be severely affected. This was equivalent to sealing her golden dragon's perception, while Huo Yuao could sense her changes at any time. Huo Yuao just needed Wang Qiu'er to slip up by a bit, and he would have a chance at defeating her. Hence, he waited. Even if he did not do Even if he did not do that, and he lost to Wang Qiu'er, she would be unable to fight another round because the snowy dance of ultimate ice would have depleted her soul power. As a control-type soul master, Yuhao's technique in this regard was considered exceptional. Wang Qiu'er appeared to have fallen into Yuhao's trap. She stood there, unmoving. Her entire body was like a statue, and her golden dragon spear touched the surface of the ground silently without a single movement. Under this condition, Wang Qiu'er appeared to be full of weaknesses. However, the more she appeared as such, the more Yuhao dared not touch her. Wang Qiu'er was in no rush, much less Yuhao. When he released his snowy dance of ultimate ice, he also felt the change in his domain. He was not too familiar with it yet, and hence he could not use all its strength here. This was an excellent chance for him to sense its changes. They stood there, frozen. The spectators on both sides felt uncomfortable. The longer the snowy dance of ultimate ice lasted, the more the temperature dropped. After a while, the temperature in the entire arena dropped to -20 degrees Celsius. Icicles started to form on the structures of the soul dueling arena. The other students were forced to use their soul power to resist the cold. Shu Sanqi asked, "Is Yuhao fighting or dating? Why is he not doing anything?" Bei looked at him sideways and said, "Don't talk nonsense." As he said that, he motioned toward Wang Donga. Shu Sanqi smirked. Nothing. If Yuhao dares to dump you, Donga, I'll beat him until all his teeth drop to the ground." He originally wanted to make a joke, but after Jiangnanan, who was next to him, touched his waist, Shu Sanqi changed tactics immediately. Wang Donga snorted in laughter and said, "Well done, fourth sister. Look after him well so that he'll stop spouting nonsense outside every day. Third brother is a Casanova, so you really should keep an eye on him." Jiangnanan snorted. "If he dares, let him run. If he runs, then he doesn't need to come back anymore. I don't care." Shu Sanqi immediately turned to her and smiled, saying, "Run? Where can I run to? No matter how fast I run, I can't run away from my Nanan's palm. If you tug me gently, I'll come back to your side and accept whatever punishment you want to dish out, right?" Jiang Nanan said angrily, "Stop trying to use your glib tongue here. Don't stir shit between Yuhao and Donga. Is that clear?" "Yes." Shu Sanqi agreed immediately. Wang Donga was not anxious, and she could understand what Yuhao was thinking. He wanted to wear her down. However, she was still uncomfortable with the fact that Yuhao was not fighting Wang Qiu'er directly. What kind of place did she have in his heart? Time-wise, Yuhao had released his domain for quite some time. If he continued in this way, he may not be able to sustain it for long. Wang Donga understood Yuhao best. Just when she made this prediction, Yuhao, who was hidden in the snowy dance of ultimate ice, started to move. Like a snowflake, Yuhao gradually approached Wang Qiu'er. In this domain, he was the master. Naturally, all signs of him would be covered by the domain. Yuhao reached out with his palms. At this moment, they took on different colors. His left hand was icy blue, and his right hand was icy white. Lightly, they came down on Wang Qiu'er's back. His soul power could not sustain the domain for long. Defeat and victory lay in this move. If he won, that would be ideal. If he lost, he would have depleted her soul power, and that was still good. When he saw Wang Qiu'er before him, Yuhao paused momentarily. However, he was about to place his left hand on her back. He could see that his left hand had been completely covered by crystalline diamonds, which gave off a dark, mysterious blue light. However, at this moment, Wang Qiu'er moved. That was right. In the domain, Wang Qiu'er could not sense Yuhao's presence at all. This was the power of the domain. However, as someone with the golden dragon martial soul, how weak could her intuition be? In the face of threats, even if she could not sense anything, she could at least sense danger. Wang Qiu'er's golden dragon spear, which was in her right hand, pierced outward and shielded her entire back with light. As the spear released its light, a huge dragon roared, and an ear-shattering dragon roar rang out, causing the snowflakes around them to disappear. However, this was still within Yuhao's snowy dance of ultimate ice. His spiritual detection had always been centered on Wang Qiu'er. When she pulled out her spear, Yuhao's body had already moved. With his ghost shadow perplexing track, Yuhao's body flashed past. His entire body was like a snowflake as he dodged Wang Qiu'er's golden dragon spear. His left hand continued on its trajectory toward her, but he now aimed for her waist. Instantly, Yuhao's speed was maximized. As Wang Qiu'er had wielded her golden dragon spear with all her soul power, her reaction was slowed by half a beat. With the coverage of his spiritual detection, Yuhao's timing was impeccable. It hit. Yuhao's left hand tapped on Wang Qiu'er's waist. An extreme chill was shot into her body, and the strength of the Ice Empress Pincer assaulted her. A powerful energy pushed Wang Qiu'er away the moment his hand made contact with her body. Not only that, the ice explosion also entered her body along with the ultimate ice. This caused the blood near Wang Qiu'er's waist to freeze over. Wang Qiu'er was powerful indeed. For normal people, the waist was a weak point. It was where humans got their strength from. Once the waist was hurt, one could soon be rendered immobile. However, Wang Qiu'er continued to stand there without moving. As Yuhao's palm made contact with her waist, he was actually unable to push her away. When his right hand touched her waist, he suddenly felt that it was as hard as steel. The ice explosion and ultimate ice had been delivered into her body, but his palm was already bouncing back. In that short time, Wang Qiu'er's body spun around. The golden dragon spear was gone. Wang Qiu'er's golden dragon spear had disappeared from her right hand. Her dazzling spearlight had disappeared too. Oh no. I've been tricked. Yuhao instantly deduced that something was wrong. However, at this moment, his wealth of experience in battling came into play too. Had it been anyone else, they would have tried to create distance the moment they realized they had been tricked. However, Yuhao understood that it was no longer possible for him to do so. He had personally witnessed Wang Qiu'er's speed and strength in close combat. Even with the cover of his domain, he could not run away. If he lost his momentum, he might not even be able to parry her next blow. One must realize that much of his soul power had been depleted. Hence, Yuhao did not run. His right hand came out as fast as a bolt of lightning as he tried to slap Wang Qiu'er's shoulder. He had to hit where it would hurt the most. At the same time, he covered himself with the Ice Empress armor. An intense emerald light flashed as he quickly released the Ice Empress wrath immediately afterward. In terms of reaction speed, Yuhao could be said to have done all this perfectly. He could also feel that his earlier palm strike had not been completely useless. The ice explosion had already been inserted. However, he hesitated, and did not let it explode at the first possible instant, as he did not know if she could handle the power of the ice explosion. If it really blew up in her waist, the damage would be extraordinary. Yuhao did so much, but Wang Qiu'er just did a very simple action. From the moment she acted, her entire action was one smooth movement. She stabbed out with the golden dragon spear in her right hand, and then she let go of immediately. The moment Yuhao tapped her waist, her body froze momentarily. Then, she prepared to punch out. While resisting the domain, Wang Qiu'er released her first soul skill, Golden Dragon Body, to ensure Yuhao took the bait. When she was hit, she did not reinforce her body. Only by doing this could she truly confuse Yuhao's spiritual detection. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.